Guys, this whole thing of democracy is a smokescreen of lies. Because even in countries where they are claiming democracy, they are enjoying more freedom in Africa than we can enjoy in their own country. And I don't know why we are so much scared of dealing with the devil once and for all. And you tell this message to all my white brothers from Germany and from South Africa. If you are not careful the way you handle land, you are going to leave your children with a snake in the back.
Now, many Africans have realized the democratic systems we are practicing in Africa is just a small screen which the Western countries are using to manipulate the puppet leaders in Africa to siphon resources from Africa. There is this man, Joshua Maponga, a Pan-Africanist who has been fighting for Africans to wake up or using his platforms to liberate Africa. I want us to watch this video from him. I will be back.
Do we have the passion to deliver this? Beautiful strategies that are not implemented, they will rot on the shelf. Horrible strategies that are implemented violently will succeed. So it's not in the beauty of your manifesto that you find success. It's in the violence of your passion that you will translate your information into your passion, into your action plan. Stop correcting full stops and commas. Look for your hands and implement what you have said you are going to implement. I am a technocrat in terms of being an intellectual harasser and social maverick who upset systems. There I'm a professional. I will harass you and you will not sleep for 16 weeks in a row. And I would want you, as we are concluding, to live here uncomfortable. And I'm doing this deliberately so that you can have an action plan that let us go out there and let us do something about it. You guys went to war, and you did not go to war to fight for democracy. We didn't go to war so that we wanted to share toilets. No, we can build our own toilets. We went to war because we wanted to restore land. Number one, we wanted power away from those that were oppressing us and to have it to ourselves. This, as a Pan-Africanist, this has been the weakness of all African governments, all of them. They went to war to fight for land. When they were there, they started organizing governments and they made themselves the kings while they were at war. And when they came back, they assumed the instruments of colonial power systems, and they started to become the drivers of the same system which had oppressed them. I'm not mixing my words. So we came back with presidents when we went to war with kings. And when they came back, they sat on the same chair that the colonialist was sitting. They became the ministers of health to manage the same health system, ministers of education to manage the same education system, ministers of water to manage the same water policies. Even as we speak today, we still have the red line zones in Namibia where goods cannot move freely. In a country, we call a country, but you cannot cross over the avocados and beef. You cannot cross this line. And you sit back and say, who drew this line? A bunch of some Boers and German guys who said, no, if you allow goods from the north to come down here, then the businesses of the south will die. We are the monopoly holders of business in Windhoek. You can't allow cheap things from the north to come, and those red lines are still there. And we talk about manifestos, we talk about policy change, and yet the devil in the room still looks at us. And to tamper with it, we all want to tiptoe and put golden gloves when we begin to talk about these real issues that matter. We only have three things to discuss. Number one, it is water. Number two, it is land. Number three, it is air. That's what we are made out of. And that's what gives us legitimacy to stay on this earth. Every one of us, we have a right to clean air. Every one of us have a right to clean water. Every one of us have a right to land. So we don't have all these ministries, beautiful and cosmetic as they are. Ministry of what, Ministry of what, Ministry of what, Ministry of what. Oh, they sound very nice, those things. You only have one ministry, and that is the Ministry of Land. Because in Ministry of Land, agriculture is there. In the Ministry of Land, water is there. In the Ministry of Land, roads is there. In the Ministry of Land, infrastructure and housing is there. In the Ministry of Land, mining is there. In the Ministry of Land, agriculture is there. If you don't have land, what are you ministering? I mean, we can tiptoe around this thing until the cows come home. The Namibian government, through the SWAPO Liberation Organization, need once and for all to look at land as the real ministry, and all other ministries can wait. Even energy is founded on land. Without land, how can you harvest solar? How can you harvest oil? How can you harvest water to generate the power that you're talking about? So land is critical. When we have these ideas, we are going to be spending 500 million. Congratulations, Honorable Minister. $500 million going towards agriculture. Oh, put your hands together. Ah, wow. Now stop and start crying. 70% of that land is still sitting in white hands, so the 500 million is going to who? And again, before you get discouraged, as Africans, remember you learn from your neighbors. I'm coming to you from a radical space of Zimbabwe. Now you have an option, because South African policies of land are affected, number one, by Germany, number two, by South Africa, and your own Namibian policies. Shame to say, South African land, 72% of that land still lays and sits in white farmers. In Namibia, you're at 70%. So when you look at yourselves in terms of land, just consider that you are exactly where South Africa is. Because of the golden gloves around land, ANC broke into pieces. UDM, Likota's party, what do you call it? COPE. After COPE, EFF. After EFF, MK. And you go to the manifestos of all these political parties that broke away from ANC, it was one single issue, that they are not willing to address the issue of land. Namibia, you're not far from that. I see lots of young people beginning to look for change. They're not looking for change. It's because you are being gentle the way you look at this monster. The quicker you address this issue, the better. Follow me carefully. We are going to do everything according to the rule of law. Congratulations. Whose law? The same Roman Dutch law that sent you to war is the same law you are trying to implement to fix it. Now let me teach you something like a criminal. Use the law, but use it to your advantage. I'm telling you a strategy like a serious criminal. You agree that we're going to buy all the land from you, but we're going to pay you only to the developments that we have done. But we're going to deduct the destructions that you have done. And we'll give you the change. We agree. So you found our land virgin. It was clean. It was productive. You have worked on it for 50, 60 years. You've put fertilizers. You've polluted the rivers. You've what. The quality of the land that you found, vis-a-vis the quality of the land that we are now buying, cannot be at the same price. So we agree to the 3 million purchase of your farm. We deduct siltations, salting of the land, destruction of nature, and etc. And we give you the change. And then we can decide how much can we pay you for what you destroyed. I mean, if they use the law, because for me it's clear, if you take away the law, the land without law, how can we use law to take it back? It was taken without law. In our own way in Zimbabwe, we would take it back without law. What am I talking about? When it comes to the issues of land, Zimbabwe, we took a radical land reform program. Follow very carefully. We got tired, 25 years of being lied to by the British government. We are going to, when they were using our land as a retirement package for their soldiers from the British Army. And they lied for 25 years, hoping that in 25 years, Mugabe will be gone. They were disappointed. The man was still alive and he was there. And the promises they'd given him were not fulfilled. So it became a mess. The soldier said, if you don't give us land now, you and Britain are all going out. Mugabe to make the U-turn in his policies and look at Tony Blair and says, Tony Blair, you can keep your Britain, I'll keep my Zimbabwe. They grabbed the land. Unfortunately, our brothers, being our brothers, they distributed the land amongst themselves. It trickled a little bit to the bottom, but the rest of them, the generals and the army, some grabbed more than they could need. And up to now, chased the white people out of the economy, and our food basket went down, our economy went down, sanctions followed us, and for the rest of this generation, you have known Zimbabwe as a junk state because of that. Now, you are Namibia, you are smart, slightly smarter than us. So I'll give you a 5-year to a 10-year plan. Start a vigorous agricultural training program for your youth. Stop talking land. Don't make noise for these white guys, they will wake up. But I'm giving you a strategy. For the next 5 to 10 years, start developing serious commercial farmers who understand the agro-business, from soil to plants to animal husbandry to what, who understand it fully. Then take the communal land that is now available, experiment with them, teach them, let them know how to do the food security business. The guy who feeds you controls your mouth. You can't talk too much. If you are borrowing food from me, and remember, food is now being used as a weapon. So they will control your food, as they did in other countries and as they are still doing now. So have an educational program first. So it starts off with your educational system. Develop agricultural institutions, vigorous ones. Then slowly, when they graduate, these kids, start putting them on the farms. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, your first graduates, you can begin to approach critical farmers and purchase those farms. Because chasing them away without a long-term plan, you may have to follow the path which Zimbabwe did. The Zimbabwe model is perfect, except that it was rapid and it did not meet up with a properly planned educational system that will be able to protect the stomachs of the people. But while I'm saying that, our stomachs are captured and they are colonized. We need to liberate ourselves from our forks and knives, because poor agriculture gives us poor health. And all these GMO foods we're talking about in terms of land, we need to liberate ourselves and start going back to organic farming, indigenous seeds, small seeds. Our parents did not have water shipped around where we need more trucks to carry water. They were staying where they were staying and they had access to water. But when you moved them away from where they were, now you need to move water to where they are, which is not practical. So we need to start looking at vigorous ways of vigorously transforming this mindset, particularly as a ruling party. Stop acting like an opposition party. You are a ruling party. You are not an opposition party. Set the agenda items loud and clear, and let the rest of the nation follow your agenda as a nation and a ruling party. You need to, again, lastly, to benchmark your land reform strategy and go to China, learn from China. No one owns land in China. The government owns land, we give you lease agreements. When you die and the lease expires, the land flows back to the owners, who is the state. Tanzania, Britain, you can own a little bit of what the Queen does not want, but the rest of it belongs to the crown. And if you don't like Britain, you can lift your house and go. The land remains as a property of the Queen. What is above your house belongs to us. What is underneath your house belongs to us. You only own what is on top of the house. That is Britain. You visit UEA, Dubai, the king owns the land. Mine and etc. We belong. So guys, this whole thing of democracy is a smokescreen of lies. Because even in countries where they are claiming democracy, they are enjoying more freedom in Africa than we can enjoy in their own country. And I don't know why we are so much scared of dealing with the devil once and for all. And you tell this message to all my white brothers from Germany and from South Africa. If you are not careful the way you handle land, you are going to leave your children with a snake in the back. Because After being to Australia and they are told you are illegal immigrant. They go to America and they are told you are an alien. They go to Britain and they are told you are a foreigner. And they come back home here and they are landless. Your own children, you will turn in your grave as our children will start victimizing your children. If you are smart enough, start making arrangements to relinquish some of the land into the black hands, to diffuse the anger of the people. Use democracy to bribe them and be nice to them when they can still listen. Because time will come when you will want to talk and will not want to talk. You'll want to negotiate and will not want to negotiate. We don't have to apologize for what rightfully belongs to us. The African does not own his land. The land owns him. From it we have come. To it we shall return. I owe my allegiance to the soil where I come from, because soil is spiritual. That's where my history is. That's where my forefathers are buried. I eat from it. I drink from it. My history is written in the land. And whoever owns my land owns my blessings. Because when it rains, God has blessed me. If I don't have access to land, I don't have access to existence. Therefore, every man must have two wives. The first wife is land. And the second wife is the one who will make children for you. If you don't have land, you don't have a right to reproduction. Because you cannot sleep with your wife on WhatsApp. You can't sleep with her on Facebook. You need an address. You need an address. Land. Land is the address that legitimizes even making children. That's why when lions walk around the bush, they lift up their legs and they mark their territories. And after they've marked their territories, then they start reproducing. Are animals now better than us? That we fail to have access to our own spaces so that we can reproduce after our own selves. I challenge SWAPO to deal with land issues. Take off those bloody gloves. Get down to business. But be strategic, be thoughtful, be mindful, be future-seeing, and put strategies that will work. But no matter how long you wait, sweet talking around land, it will boil down to one thing. Who will ultimately be the owner of the land? And if we must be sovereign, we can't have Germans here who have farms in our place and they're busy sitting somewhere. They don't even come here. They just send their friends to come and shoot some few impalas. And they convert some of the agricultural land into tourism plots where their friends can come and hunt. And they don't even pay the money here. They buy the tickets and pay in Germany. Then they buy tickets to come here just to visit. The only money you receive, if ever they come, it's your hotel and your water. The rest of the profits of these farms, which are in white hands, the benefit is not even coming towards Namibian GDP. And sooner or later we must discover who is our enemy and who is our friends. This is how I want you to think. This is how I want you to feel. This is how I want you to do. SWAPO!
I have been saying this and I will keep on saying this, that democracy is a scam. Democracy is a scam. That one, it may have worked for maybe other countries, but it's not currently working for Africa because it has rather produced more corrupt leaders than patriotic leaders. And as we stand at the moment, we need more patriotism than just democratic leaders. That's the fact. The democratic system we are practicing hasn't benefited us. Africa needs a new system that can help us grow, because where we find ourselves, it's about time Africans, we start finding our own political systems that will favor the country. Because as it stands now, we have been polluted. The political systems we are practicing here has been polluted. Recently, there was a whole protest in Ghana. Some were protesting about a hard economy. Things has become very expensive. Some were protesting about galamsey, the illegal mining, which has been led by destroying our rivers, our streams. And when the protest was going on, I found it fishy because I realized the opposition party were using some of the youth to organize the protest. But at the end of the day, when I realized the opposition party is behind the protest, I did a content about it, asking some questions that whether the youth are doing these things genuinely. We later find out that the opposition party has pumped money into this protest for it to hold, and they are the main sponsors of this protest. It was not a big deal, or it is not a big deal if the opposition party were doing that. But the question is, when the opposition was in power, were they fighting against the illegal mining? They were not fighting, they were encouraging it. But today they are in opposition and they are sponsoring protests to protest against illegal mining in Ghana. As I said, it was a very good thing for the youth to stand up to fight for something that is wrong in the society. But don't let political parties play you, because the cause you are fighting for today, when they come to power, they are going to support the same thing that you are fighting against today. Somewhere 2020, when election was far approaching and the political parties were doing their campaigns, the opposition party, the current opposition party, was going to illegal mining sites to campaign and tell the illegal miners that if they come, they will make sure they will bring them back on site to come and do their work. Because that time, the government in power were fighting against illegal mining. But the opposition were going to the site to promise them of a comeback when he is able to win power. Unfortunately, he couldn't win, and that led the government in power to lose a whole lot of seats on the illegal mining regions. But today, the same opposition party whom 2020 he was campaigning to bring back the illegal miners, today he is organizing protests. He is going behind the youth to give them money to organize protests, to cause unrest so that he can gain votes. And later when he comes to power, he will continue exactly what these people are fighting against. Please, if you want to join my Telegram platform, go to the description box, click on the Telegram link, and it will take you to the platform. Join us for us to talk about the well-being of Africa and Africans in diaspora. If today is your first time coming to this channel, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that anytime I upload any great content, you will be notified. I'm always your guy, De-Graft Amoako. Thanks for watching.